You know that weird moment? You're just scrolling, and bam, an ad pops up for something you were literally just thinking about. Or you finish one video, and the next one is so perfect you have to click. And then poof, an hour's gone. We've all been there, right? In that kind of strange space where technology seems to know us a little too well. And it all leads to this fundamental question about our digital lives. Are these incredibly powerful systems just helpful assistants? Or are they, subtly steering us? Are they actually serving our interests? Or are we serving theirs? That's what we're going to unpack today, the hidden architecture of algorithmic influence. Okay, so let's start somewhere we think we have the most control, online shopping. I mean, the internet feels like this infinite shelf of options, right? A total paradise of choice. But how much of that choice is actually real? And how much is just a really, really carefully constructed illusion?
So to really get what's happening here, we need to talk about something called online choice architecture. Now, I know it sounds super technical, but it's actually a pretty simple idea. It just means that the digital world you're in, it's designed to influence you. Think of it like the invisible blueprint for every website and every app. From the default settings and those little pre-checked boxes to the exact order of your search results, every single tiny element is a nudge in a certain direction. It's not magic, it's very intentional design.
All right, and this is a really crucial distinction we have to make. On the one hand, you've got genuine personalization, and that's great. It's helpful. It cuts through all the noise and helps you find what you want, faster. But then there's the other side of the coin, algorithmic steerage, and this is a whole different beast. Here, the goal shifts. It's not about serving you anymore. It's about guiding you toward choices that are best for the platform's bottom line, even if they're not the best for yours.
So what's the end game here? What are these algorithms actually trying to do? Well, it all comes down to what they're optimizing for. If the metric is engagement, the goal is just to keep your eyes glued to the screen. The risk for you? Digital addiction, total information overload. If it's revenue, well, they want to maximize sales, which can push you into making impulse buys. And hey, even something that sounds good, like optimizing for relevance, can trap you in a filter bubble where you never discover anything new. See? Every single goal has a consequence for us.
And this whole idea of algorithmic influence, it's not just about what we buy. Nope, it's fundamentally changing how a lot of us work. I'm talking about the gig economy. It was sold to us on this amazing promise of freedom, right? Be your own boss. But for the workers actually on the ground, is the algorithm a helpful tool, or is it just a new kind of digital boss? This quote, man, it just gets right to the heart of the paradox for gig workers. They're pulled in by that promise, be your own boss, set your own hours. But the reality, it's a system of constant, automated performance tracking. All the big decisions are made by a cold algorithm, and there's usually no human you can even talk to. And this just perfectly illustrates that central conflict. The very autonomy that workers crave is tied to this deep, deep sense of insecurity. And the research is pretty clear on this. That tension, that lack of security, that feeling of being managed by a system you can't see into and can't question, it can lead to some serious emotional stress, anxiety, and at the end of the day, just lower job satisfaction.
So here's the crucial point. Algorithmic management isn't necessarily good or bad for everyone. A worker's well-being seems to depend almost entirely on this idea of a congruence of preferences. Basically, it's about the match. If what you want most is flexibility, you might be totally fine. But if you're someone who needs security and the platform only gives you radical autonomy, well, that's when things can get really tough. It is all about the fit.
Okay, now for one of the absolute biggest anxieties of our time. The idea that algorithms, especially on a platform like YouTube, are just fueling political polarization, pushing people down these extremist echo chambers. We hear this narrative all the time. But what's the real story? Yeah, the popular story is what they call the rabbit hole theory, right? The algorithm sees you watch one kind of edgy video, and then it just drags you down this path of more and more extreme content. But is that what's actually happening? I mean, what does the evidence say when you really put it to the test? And this is where the data gets incredibly provocative, and maybe not what you would expect. Several major studies have really challenged that simple rabbit hole story. What they're finding is that, surprisingly, our own choices seem to have a much bigger impact on what we see than the algorithm's recommendations. In fact, some data even suggests that YouTube's algorithm often tries to pull viewers away from extreme content back towards the mainstream. So maybe the algorithm presents the rabbit hole, but it looks like we're the ones who actually choose to jump.
But hold on. Just because algorithms might not be the main drivers of political polarization, that absolutely does not mean they're harmless. Oh no. There's another, maybe even more insidious danger: their incredible ability to soak up and amplify our own worst human biases, and do it on a massive scale.
And for that, let's look at the cautionary tale of Amazon's AI recruiting tool. The goal was great, right? Build an AI to find the best talent super efficiently. But here's the catch. They trained it on a decade of their own hiring data. And in doing so, they accidentally taught the AI all of the company's historical gender bias. The system literally learned to replicate the past, and it started penalizing female candidates. They tried to fix it, they really did, but in the end, they had to scrap the whole project. It's a perfect, if painful, example that an AI is only as unbiased as the data we feed it.
Okay, so we've got algorithmic steerage, we've got insecure work, and we've got bias scaled up to an insane degree. It sounds pretty bleak, I know, but there is a pushback, and the response is happening on two major fronts: from the top down, with regulation, and from the bottom up, with us.
So from the top down, you've got these landmark regulations, like the European Union's AI Act. It's really one of the first major attempts to govern AI, and they do it by classifying systems based on how much risk they pose to people. The really high-risk stuff, things used in hiring or for credit scores, they face super strict rules. And the most dangerous applications, they're banned outright.
And then you've got the response from the bottom up. And that's us. People are not just passive dummies getting pushed around by algorithms. We fight back. We develop our own little folk theories about how they work. Like, believing a dating app is hiding our best matches to keep us paying. We learn how to clean our feeds, we use ad blockers, we find all these clever, creative ways to assert our own agency in the face of the machine.
So, after looking at how we shop, how we work, and how we get our information, where does all this leave us? What's the state of our relationship with algorithms? Are we just puppets on a string?
And this right here is the most crucial takeaway of all. Algorithms are not mind control. They don't determine what we do, but they absolutely significantly condition our choices. They build the environment around us. They set the defaults. They arrange the options on the shelf. They create this whole architecture of choice that makes some paths incredibly easy to walk down and others much, much harder.
So, in the end, the power isn't really in trying to escape the algorithm. I mean, let's be real. That's pretty much impossible these days. No, the real power is in understanding its architecture. It's about seeing the design, recognizing the nudges for what they are, and questioning the defaults. When you do that, you reclaim a critical piece of your own agency. The choice is still yours, but now you can make it with your eyes wide open.